Six Gun Productions. New media, new rules.
This is Hollywood Outlaws, Episode 4, for December 2nd, 2018, Fugazi.
Hi, and welcome to Hollywood Outlaws. This is Episode 4, Unbelievable. I'm Fab, still in Hamburg.
Hey, I'm Dan in Liverpool. Why is it unbelievable?
I don't know, it's just like, it. When I do a new podcast, sometimes they just die, pod fade. I'm just,
okay.
I'm
what,
just
after
happy
3 episodes?
I recently had that happen, yeah.
Right, okay.
I don't know, how many episodes did we get into? I can't even remember.
Okay.
Yeah, it
right.
wasn't good. Yeah.
Okay, well it happens, not everything comes together.
Well, you know me, I like throwing stuff at the wall, and sometimes it just... Yeah, so that other show died after 3 episodes, so let's not mention that.
Let's just forget that failure, that abject failure, and move
yes,
on.
That never happened.
It's dishonored itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, this is great. I've been listening to our own show just to quality control and kind of, and I'm liking it. So
yeah, I listened to the last one yesterday, episode 3. It was yesterday, day before. Anyway, sometime this week I listened to the last one that we released, which to be honest was recorded like a month ago, so I'd forgotten a lot of it. So yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it.
So this one,
I thought I was very funny, actually. You
were. I thought so too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm now. I'm back. I'm back from the US.
Oh yeah, how was that?
Well, yeah. Let's. It was great. It was like really short. Like we only had 6 days.
Okay.
But I flew over to San Diego, and then I thought I had like a plan to have a day in the hotel just to, be a vegetable. Yeah. But then the jet lag wasn't actually that bad. It's worse flying east. I can know that, but
it's worse. Going the other way. Yeah.
I was giving myself the benefit of the doubt anyway. So I was, but I was like in the morning, got up. I was like, okay. So I was like, oh, what am I going to do? Because Katie was still on her, like she was at a big
conference or something.
Neurologist conference. And I was just like, what am I going to do? And I found out that the USS Midway is anchored there in the harbor, and it's a museum. And I spent a day there.
Oh,
it was
right. Okay.
Bloody amazing. Like I got so many pictures. They have like, it's really cool. This is like something you wouldn't have in Europe when you have like a museum like this. They have like old, like naval aviators and people that were stationed on the ship. Like old veterans. They like guide you around and talk, explain everything. And
well, they've got to find something to do with them, haven't they?
Yeah,
got to give them a job somewhere.
Yeah,
somewhere.
But they were really cool. I thought I really, really enjoyed it. Yeah, and then just something really cool. So Katie booked like a hotel that was really far away from the convention center. It was just like a mistake. So we had to Uber here. There's no public transport in the US. You have to like take Uber. And like this one Uber driver.
Outside of cities, I believe there's no public transport. Yeah.
Well, yeah, in San Diego, inside there isn't much inside the city as well. The only thing they have is like these bird scooters, like these electric scooters. Everybody rides around on that. Anyway, so this Uber driver, and Katie's like, oh yeah, he's gonna come in a Dodge Charger, and I'm like, what, the Dodge Charger?
Wow, that's quite impressive.
This is great. So this guy turns up like in his Charger, right? It's got like like obviously well he was like a black dude, right, wearing like baggy stuff and like a gold chain. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? So we're driving along. Turns out he's like a rapper. And he's got like music. I have to remember. I have to send you his stuff because he's really good. He was really, really good.
Was he rapping while he drove?
No, he just played us his music.
Alright,
he's
cool.
just like, "Are you into this?" And we're like, "Yeah, well, we don't mind." And he's like, "Well, it was actually really good."
Would you
He's
like to buy the CD? Did he try?
No,
to
he's
sell
like,
you the
"I'm on
CD?
Spotify soon and stuff." He was really nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
And also,
That's good.
He's got a song about like driving around in the Uber.
All right. Well, at least he's keeping it real. You know, he's talking about his experience and all that. So that sounds interesting. Yeah.
So
Send
that
it
was
over.
great.
I'll have a listen.
I really enjoyed San Diego. It was really cool. And then we got a car. And yes, I got a Dodge Charger RT Hemi. Amazing car. It's like the best car ever.
Okay.
So it's like, I'm just going to look up how much... it was like the big engine. It's like unbelievable. It's like 400 something horsepower.
Yeah, it does about
It's
2
just
miles
like-
to the gallon.
Actually, it wasn't that bad.
Oh, all right. Okay.
So we drove from San Diego to Vegas, and I took like the long way around through the desert. Like, it was really cool, really really cool, and like it actually 1.5 tanks we used like for the. We drove around in San Diego and later. It was actually, it wasn't that bad. Amazing car. You can't even like I even it's an automatic, of course, because in the US, and I even forgave it that because you just put your pedal to the metal and it's just like we were like, I mean, you can go like 80 was the fastest like speed limit we had. But it was amazing fun. It's like we were like in a desert, there were no cars around, so I'm like, okay. Katie's like, okay, stop, and then we're doing like the 0 to 80 miles. It's like, it was really cool.
Yeah,
and
isn't petrol really cheap over there? Anyway, or gas?
Yeah,
They like to call
well,
it gas.
we're like, it's not cheap at all. What's going on? And then like we realized, oh no, it's gallons.
Oh yeah,
it's not liters, it's gallons. Like, okay,
because I know
cheap.
it's a lot cheaper than it is in Europe. Yeah.
So that was cool. Yeah, I went to Vegas. Vegas really nice, although 2 days was like enough for us. First of all, we lost all our money. And then also, it's Vegas, right? And then also, it's like it's so dazzling. It was really cool. We were in the New York, 21st floor, and like the roller coaster was right. There's a roller coaster that goes around the hotel.
I was going to say, is that the one with the roller coaster at the top?
And it was right in front of our window.
Wow.
So every 10 minutes or so, you could hear like
see people go past.
You could hear them shouting as they were going down. That was cool.
Can they see in your window as they go past? Isn't that a bit...
Well, I think that, yes, I think they could have, but I think they were kind of busy being scared
Just
going
as you
down.
come out the shower and you're like, ah! As they go past.
Yeah. We were
And they're
running
like,
around
"What was
naked in the hotel room
Yeah.
a lot. So,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
But like the cool thing was, while we were there was like the Bull Riders Association of America. It had like the finals in like the arena
radio,
that was just next door. Yeah, so it's the T-Mobile Arena, so where the Golden Knights play, the hockey team. And the whole casino was full of like these like Texan looking dudes in like gallon hats, like the really big cowboy hats.
Yeah.
And so I saw this guy, I shit you not, like we're at, so I wasn't used to this because in European casinos, the ones we've been to, you have to go to the cashier and get like chips and then play with the chips. And in there, obviously, well, you kind of play, just like, you give them like bills.
Okay.
And they give you chips, and you have to like cash in afterwards. You go to the cashier afterwards.
Yeah.
So I was there, and it's like just walking past. I was getting drinks for Katie and me, right? I'm just looking around, walking past the cashier, and there's like this guy in a gallon hat, like right out of a Hollywood movie, right? With like this Texan accent or whatever, going like "Cash me out," and like he hands like there are this like huge stack of chips, right?
Okay.
And I was like, I'm slowing down. I'm like, I want to see what this is like. And she goes like to the thing. And then she comes out with like these bundles of money.
Yeah.
And goes like 10, $20, $30, $40,
Wow.
$48,000.
$48,000. Wow.
Yeah, and he just takes the bundles and puts them like in his vest and walks away. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah, it's followed to the car park by some shady-looking characters.
It's so crazy. I mean, the amount of money, if you're just looking at the casino floor, right, and you see the amount of money that goes past. There was like this woman at a roulette table, right? And she's like every time she's like betting like hands full of these chips and puts them down like on like black or red or whatever, you know, a number or whatever. And I'm like, what are these chips? I mean, I knew that the limit was like the minimum was like $15. So I'm like, they're what, like $1.
You say 15?
Yeah, 15 was the minimum bet on the table. So she was like, I was like, she's putting $1 things down, right? No, there were $50 things.
Wow.
She was like betting. I don't know, $250 each time. It's like, what the hell's going on? So that was crazy. Then we rented a Mustang.
Okay.
And drove back the iconic drive from Vegas through Prim back to LA. Really, really amazing. I went to so I love Fallout New Vegas, and 10 minutes off the highway there, just a town called Good Springs, which is where you wake up in New Vegas, where your character starts. I went there, looks exactly like in the video game, amazing. When
No
you drive
or anything, or super mutants or whatever.
No super mutants.
That's good.
But the saloon looks exactly the same.
Okay.
They did have, when you drive over the state border to California, they have this thing. You think like you're on Mars. You're like, what the fuck is sci-fi movie is this? They have this solar power plant, which is 3 big towers that have a big tank of water at the top. And they have mirrors in the desert that they focus on the tank.
Yeah.
And then they create steam, and there's like a Siemens steam turbine in there, just like in a nuclear power plant. It looks unreal. Like this, you can actually see like the air, like shining from the mirrors, and apparently it's like environmentally a bit of a problem because like if a bird flies through that, they get cooked like in.
I was just going to say that's a bit of a
yeah.
That's a bit of a problem.
So then drove into Vegas, drove into LA, and then we spent 2 days in LA.
Yeah, but the important thing everybody wants to know is, did you see anyone from the program around? You didn't see Crate and Barrel hanging around, or? But
what we did in the evening, when we drove in the Mustang, we went to our Airbnb, and Katie's like, "Okay, let's go get something to eat," and I'm like, "We have to drive down Mulholland." So we got something to eat in like this hipster place, and then so we were in Mid City, and then drove into basically North Hollywood, and I drove through North Hollywood, and I shit you not, I found Mulholland Drive without the GPS, just based from my GTA 5 knowledge. It's like, I don't know what this road is called, but I know that and we're driving past Michael's house.
Yeah.
So I was like,
that's right. Yeah, I know.
So I had to drive around to see if there's like the tennis courts on the other side, and they actually are. It's amazing.
Seriously, that's somebody's house.
It's
my God.
somebody's house. It looks like that. And then we drove up Mulholland to the Outlook, and I had to, go on the other side, go to Woodrow Wilson, and then look up Bosch's house, and drove past that as well. So that was amazing. There was no smog. It's pretty cool. We had a pretty
Did you drive past the North Hollywood division, or is that somewhere else?
We drove past. Yeah, we drove past the Hollywood division. Yes, we did. I didn't stop though. We didn't have that much time.
No.
Drove past. So we basically had to give the rental car back next day. So it wasn't that. But we drove around a bit. That was really cool. Yeah, and then we just spent 2 days in LA. And what do you do in California? When weed's legal and all that. Anyway,
I think you said when meat's legal. I was going to say, is meat illegal? No, in other places. Yeah, when weed's legal. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is in a lot of states now.
We went
Colorado,
to Hollywood. So the problem is in Nevada. In Nevada, it's legal.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed. You're not allowed to consume it on public property. So you basically have to do it at somebody's place.
Oh.
But if you're there as a tourist,
well, how would you know anyone? Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really work. So that's the big problem. Like tourists can't, like, you can buy it, but you can't like smoke it or whatever.
Yeah.
So they're all going like go edibles or whatever.
Yeah.
But in
Dangerous, but go on.
in California, it's a lot. Well, they have like, you know, the dispensaries. So we went to a place called Hollyweed.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I've heard of that.
It's like the Kevin Smith connection.
Yeah, I was going to say Kevin Smith has something to do with it, I think. Or anyway, carry on.
So yeah, well, we just, you know, I mean, experiences. You know, you gotta. It was quite cool. LA. Quite nice. I mean, I don't know if it was representative. I didn't hear a single shot while we were there. I was giving my best to just look out for LAPD cruises because I wanted to see LAPD cruises, and I saw maybe one. Aside when we drove past the station.
You were in the wrong part of LA, probably. You need to go to like Inglewood or South Central.
Actually not. So I was looking up Mid City, right?
Yeah.
And it was like before, because I'm like, Katie's like, oh, Airbnb is going to be fine. I'm like, oh my God, we're going to get murdered, right? So I'm looking this up, and am I looking up? It's just like people on Reddit, like, I'm moving to Mid City, is it bad? And like this ex-cop somewhere just like saying, well, as long as you east and north of Crenshaw and Pico, you're fine. You know, south of that, it gets kind of dodgy. And so we were like in a good part. But if you go south a bit, you come to a place called the Jungles. Maybe you have heard of it. There's like a movie. I mean, apparently there's some gang shit going on there. But
you do surprise me.
But it's so amazing. Like, it's so amazing when you drive from Vegas. You drive over the highway, right? And like through San Bernardino, whatever. And I'm from the rural area, so I'm used to like cities that flow into each other and go on for hours, right? But it's quite amazing. You drive through the mountains, and then you're in a city, and you drive for an hour, and you're still in the city, and you're like, when does this end? And then you see like downtown, like just on the horizon, you know, just like the skyline, just obviously very
it's
far
like
away.
in every iconic thing you've ever seen.
Yeah. So really cool. So I did some
like the
some
start
Bosch
of the A-Team
research.
I would point out.
Oh yeah.
Where you get the LA
Los
skyline.
Angeles underground. Yeah.
That's the one.
Anyway, I've rambled on way too long. We're 15 minutes into the show.
That's all right. Well, we had a break, so it's good to catch up. I haven't done anything interesting, so that's fun.
All our first 3 episodes were amazing. They're all like 1 hour 7 minutes or something. They're just like all on point, I noticed.
Well, this episode that we're going to talk about today of Bosch is a pretty long episode, actually. I think it's one of the, because that varies a bit in. Well, I say long. It's very densely kind of packed. When I looked at, so it's episode 4 of series 1 that we're talking about today.
Fugazi.
Yeah, and also look up the band Fugazi if anyone doesn't know them. Repeater is an awesome album. They're an obscure punk band, but well, they're not obscure actually. They were reasonably famous. But anyway, so I looked, and this is the episode that lots of people claim is the best episode of Series 1. I can see why, because there's a lot going on in it. Yeah, and we'll get to that. There's a lot of action at the end.
I don't think think so. I think after season 1 we have to do like a recap or something. Recap episode and talk about stuff like that. But yeah.
So is there any other business to talk about before we get into the episode? I don't know. I don't think so.
I'm drinking a very lazy old fashioned, which is just Jim Beam with ice.
Yeah, I'm drinking a peppermint tea at the moment because you may hear my voice is a bit croaky today. I don't know. It seems to have got some kind of, I don't know, some flavour of some kind, but man flavour, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, God, I got like Katie got like the killer flu off the plane on the way back.
Yeah, the one you get from the plane, yeah.
Yeah, and I was okay, right? I'm nursing her back to health. And like after 3 days, I'm like, she's okay. I'm like, this is the first time in our relationship that usually her immune system is a lot better than mine, that I've like nursed her and I haven't got like the cold, and the next day, bam.
Yeah, you should have spoke too soon.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Bosch.
So back to Bosch. Yeah, it starts on a driving range, golf driving range.
Oh yes, yeah.
With Bosch and Edgar kind of hanging around. Edgar's playing. He's playing on the driving range. Bosch doesn't like golf, which we'll talk about in a minute. But Edgar says, "Waits confessed. Why do you have to look a gift horse in the mouth?" And if you
always have to,
always have to look a gift horse in the mouth. So at the end of the last episode, we talked about the weirdo dude in the van with the dead guy in the back. What's his name? Harlan Waits or
Reynard.
Reynard Waits. That's it.
Like the fox.
Yeah, that's right. Reynard Waits. He confessed, and Bosch thought he was bullshitting, and Bosch apparently still thinks he's bullshitting. But he also, the reason they're at the range, you realise, is because the guy who's driving the little ball collecting thing is the father of the dead boy.
Before this, I didn't know that was a thing. I've been to driving ranges.
Apparently it is, yeah. So a friend of mine used to go a lot, and she told me that they used to try and hit the guy in the thing. That was like the game, was you try and hit the guy in the little car.
That's what they're doing as well. But like when I was playing like golf, we did that actually in school in Australia. Like there was a golf course, a big one, like across the road from school. And they just paid like people, like, kids, school kids. They paid them to pick up the balls.
Well, you wouldn't want to do it while somebody's playing because it could hurt. You could probably get killed if you got hit by a golf ball.
Afterwards.
So that is the thing, yeah. But I liked it that Edgar's quite good at golf, and he calls him Tiger Woods, and Edgar says, "I've got to be Tiger because I'm black," and he says, "No, because you're good at golf." And then he says Harry doesn't like golf very much because he says if you can smoke and drink while doing it, it's not a sport.
This is a perfect quote. I will remember this because I've always said that, like, I played golf in the past, and I know people who play golf, and I'm like, it's not.
Never
a sport.
tried golf.
That's not a sport. But I couldn't put it to a point as fine as Bosch, and that is just right. If you can smoke and drink while you're doing it, it's definitely not a sport.
Yeah, it is hard to defend it as a sport. But anyway, you find out that they're taking bets anyway on whether Edgar can hit the guy in the car. He does. The guy gets out and starts flipping the bird at them. And then they decide not to speak to him at that point, I think, because Edgar goes, "Well, we've got his attention now if you want to go and talk to him." And he says, "No, not now."
Yeah, that's a bit weird. I think Bosch just want to look at him or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's an odd one, that.
So in the book, they're doing the same thing, and Edgar doesn't want to try to hit the guy in the book.
Oh, right. He seemed quite happy in this.
And Bosch needs to convince him. Yeah, in this they changed it a bit, but I kind of like it.
Yeah.
So basically,
credit, and then it's the opening titles.
Yeah. So Bosch thinks Sam Delacroix is still he's a prime suspect because he doesn't believe Waits. Yeah. And so the key point is, he told his daughter when the son went missing that he reported that, and they couldn't find.
And they couldn't find a report. Yeah. And for anybody who's trying to keep up as well, I mean, you would know if you were watching this, but the boy Arthur Delacroix, that's his father. Is this guy Sam Delacroix, who's like a failed actor?
You really should be watching this. I can't.
Well, if you're not watching it, why are you listening to this?
Well, maybe they just hear us talk. I'm fine with that.
That's fine.
I'm fine if you're here for that, but I still think you should be watching the show because it's really, really good. Then we get the intro, and I'm in love with this intro. So
it's really good.
So whenever a show has a good intro, I drive Katie insane because I will, when I watch it.
Watch the intro?
When I watch shows, I will always watch it.
I skipped it, I've got to be honest. I like the intro, but I skipped it after, I've seen it loads of times.
So I'm watching it in the train, like on the iPad, right? Because I'm doing this on the train ride today, right? And I'm watching it, and the people are just... Well, I mean, I do the same with Star Trek Next Generation. I've seen that intro a million times. I think literally a million times. But I just love it so much. And I think Katie just laughs at me because I'm sitting there, right? When we're like in bed, she's reading. I'm like on the iPad with earplugs, right? And I'm watching Next Generation. And I go... Dun, 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 because I just like the song so much. Yeah,
well, that's good if you get enjoyment out of it. And it's a really good song. The music's really good, but I skipped on this one.
I just love the way it's filmed like that.
And it's very clever, the mirror type effect.
Yeah, and it's just so brisk and great.
It is good. So,
and I did listen to the Bosch theme when we were driving through Mulholland Drive. I will have you know, I did do
good
that.
Stuff.
And it was
good
great.
Stuff. I like it. You have to look moody while you drive around, and while you're doing that. And look into the distance, I just
looked smug in my Mustang, and I think so. We were basically we were jet lagged, so we went eating a bit early. So when we were driving through like Mulholland, I think it was just like rush hour coming back from home time, and I think I pissed off a few people who lived there. It was like, who's this idiot in this Mustang
driving around? And you,
I was driving slow because I was like taking in the sights and everything, you know. So if you live in the Hollywood, well, no, I don't apologize because you're fucking rich bastards.
I was going to say, if you live in Hollywood, then you deal with it.
Yeah.
You have to deal with the star but coach things all the time that go around. Showing people where the celebrities live or used to live.
Exactly.
So anyway, we start off with the next scene after the credits is they're in the station, they're in the Hollywood division, and Manx there, who's the kind of duty, what do you call him, watch?
I love it. He's the watch sergeant.
Watch sergeant, that's it, yeah. So he does a lot of the, scheduling of stuff. But anyway,
he's a typical sergeant, like in a military TV show in Star Trek, he's the Sarge guy. He's the dependable.
He is. He's a really good actor, that guy, as well. And the character's really funny. He has lots of funny lines, but the guy does it really well. He's always very kind of, what's the word, deadpan, or kind of plays it, downplays these lines and stuff. So anyway, he says to Harry that he wants a word with him about the deputy chief's son. And then Harry says, "Am I in trouble?" And then he goes on to explain that, they've got a problem potentially because the bit in the first episode we talked about where the kid Irving Jr.
Second episode, but
whatever, some episodes ago,
the traffic stop.
Yeah, he deliberately types in the wrong number plate, wrong license plate, so that he can have an excuse to pull. I
love that Bosch just has this typical Bosch smile, where he's like quietly goes, old school move.
He says old school move. I wrote that down as well, yeah. So anyway, but so this is Irving's son as well who does it.
Yeah.
And then his partner who's on the thing is apparently a bit of a, well, I think he calls him a choir boy or something. I can't remember what he calls him, altar boy or something.
Yeah, and so he's the guy
who report everything.
Yeah, he's the guy who wrote up Brasher as well. So he's the guy.
No, wasn't that Edge? I thought Edge wrote up Brasher.
No, that's the thing. We thought it was Edge. It wasn't Edge.
It wasn't Edge.
He was.
Pierce,
was it Edge?
Pierce, his name is. I thought Edge. No, it was Edge because.
Let's
not argue about it now. But in a previous episode,
you're right.
You hear that Bosch says to Manx to have a word with Edge about letting.
Yeah, you're right.
Thingy off. So anyway, Pierce is his name. This guy, and he's wanting to report the fact that the kid put in the wrong plate deliberately. Right. This is a problem for Mank and everyone else because, and not just Irving Jr. because it would jeopardize their case basically. And that would put them in the shit. And then Mank says he's going to be in trouble, so he asks if this happens. So he asks Bosch to talk to him and talk him out of it. But the bit I love is he says to him, "Have you ever accidentally wiped your ass with poison oak while camping?" And Bosch is like, and he says, "Nice analogy." At the end, he says, "Nice analogy."
Bosch is obviously not. He's a bit. I could connect with him there because he looks at him like he's obviously not the camping type, right? And he looks like at Manx like, do you think I'm the guy who goes camping on? And you can tell that Manx gone camping, right? That's where he got
He looks a bit like an ex-army guy. Well, mind you, Bosch is an ex-army guy, so he should be up on the.
But he doesn't. I mean, I think he can if he's like if he needs
but not
to,
by
but
choice.
He doesn't strike me as a guy who goes like does that and he goes to cocktail bars.
That's my kind of camping. Yeah, I'll be camped out over there by the jukebox.
I'm camping here right now with Doc Beam.
Yeah, exactly. So that's that's pretty much the end of that scene. He asks him to have a word with Pierce.
Yeah.
And he agrees to have a chat with him, basically.
And now
Yep.
Yes, and now they're in a diner. By the way, I went when we were in Vegas. I was like, Katie, we can't have breakfast in the casino every day, right?
In the hotel.
So I found this. I looked this up. It's like, where do the locals go to eat? I found this amazing diner in Old Vegas.
Oh,
Had to drive like 20 minutes or something, but it was fucking great. It's like this thing. It was packed. It was Saturday, right? It's packed with like these locals, and it's like this place where you don't I mean, you're not even sitting, and they put a cup down and put coffee in there, and then wherever you take a sip, like one of the waitresses floats by and fills it up again. And they're like this really like 50-year-old waitresses who have like these 60s hair, like really blonde.
Hang on, they'd have to be younger than 60s.
No, they were
younger
like
than
really
to have
old.
been around in the 60s.
No, they were like they had like this 60s hairstyle.
Oh yeah, well,
But
it's
they
probably
were-
part of the thing, isn't it? Yeah.
But
Part
they
of
were
the-
like,
whatever.
but it's like it's part of the. Usually you think of like young waitresses, but they they had like, when they're like 50 or whatever, but they have a
You say
hairstyle
that
like
with
they're
such disdain.
25.
There's nothing wrong with an experienced waitress. I've got to say.
No, I'm not saying any. Anyway, it was great. Katie pissed them off because the first thing she's like, "Do we have
How
cappuccino?"
old are you?
No,
You look
she's
really
like, "Do we
old."
have cappuccino?" And like, what? No.
No, they just
And I
have
was
filter
like-
coffee, don't
I
they?
was like in heaven because like over here, you go to a cafe now and they only have like espresso based
Yeah,
stuff.
Americano,
They don't
yeah.
have like fucking filter coffee, and that place was great. So we eaten there. It's great waffles, whatever. It's best breakfast I ever had. So I'm looking at the wall, right? And there's like this. It's like is that a newspaper? And there's like this really yellow. It looks ancient newspaper in a frame, right? And I'm looking at that and it says "President shot by sniper."
Holy shit!
Like,
So it's from like
local newspaper from fucking when
I was going
JFK
to say
was
JFK.
shot.
Yeah, that's
It's
63.
so
I think.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That place. That place was classic. It was an original play. It's like you get like a handwritten bill at the end.
You're going to say something else then. You got a handwritten bit on it. Oh, okay, fair enough.
Happy ending.
Yeah.
Happy ending.
It's also a massage parlor.
That's amazing place. Anyway, so why I say this because we're in a diner now.
Yeah.
Bosch
is in the
and-
diner with Lieutenant.
billets.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so she's so basically he's going on a road trip they're going to Palm Springs, like
Yeah,
he and
with
Edgar,
Edgar.
for the mother, right? After
No, the
Delacroix.
father. They go,
No,
don't
they said they don't.
Oh
want
no,
to see
you're
the
right.
father.
You're
They're
right.
going to
Sorry,
the
you're
mother.
right. Yeah, they're going to find
And
the mother.
she lives in Palm Springs.
You're right.
And so Billets wants to know why the hell are they going there, and Bosch is like, yeah, I could bring her up, but I really want to look into her face. So his thing is like, this is obviously a family drama. I mean, we talked about. I mean, this you tend to forget this now, but it's like this kid and all the bones and the broken bones and all that.
Yeah.
So Bosch wants to get like a handle on the history of abuse, and I think that's why he wants to go over there. And then it revolves around. She's like, so apparently when you go up to Palm Springs, you go past the outlet
Some big clothes
shopping
outlets
thing.
yeah.
And
Where
she's like,
Edgar will want to go in.
yeah, Edgar will want to go. And Bosch is like, he's a clothes horse.
He's
like,
got some clothes. He's got more shoes than you do.
than you do.
Yeah, that's right.
What I love about Billets is like, okay, they're obviously playing this up, it's a cop show, and they're like, it's a bit like old fashioned, they're like man talk.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Billets never minds. She's like really cool.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine if she, the character in that, if she was in that job, in that environment, you'd have to be pretty tough
exactly.
to kind of get on. And she's cool anyway. She kicks ass. So she says to him, "Don't make the Delacroix murder too personal." And Harry clearly is always going to do that. And he says, he basically, I think he says something like, he says he's not going to, but he does. But the thing I wrote down as well is the end of that scene is the young waitress goes past and kind of bends over. And then Harry is
noticed that
totally
too?
checking out the waitress's ass.
Yeah,
And,
completely.
Yeah, and then, what's the name? The lieutenant's just like, "Oh, come on, Bosch," or something like that. And she says,
She's like, what's, he's just like, go on, finish your dinner. You have a long drive ahead
She
of
basically
you.
tells him to stop it.
She's like, she doesn't like, but
Not
you
in
can
a
tell,
condemning
like,
way, but just in a kind
no,
of like, give
she's
it a
like,
rest.
she doesn't mind though. She's like,
No, that's what I'm saying. She's just like, "Oh, come on, let's finish breakfast or whatever, or lunch, whatever
yeah, I
the fuck it is."
noticed that. I wrote that down as well.
Yeah.
That's quite funny. So, and we also learned that Bosch is, they're talking about his daughter again.
Yeah, he should go and see his daughter. She's in
so-
Vegas, I think. Yeah.
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 Oh, we'll learn more about that later, but yeah.
Yeah.
And
And then we're into the car. We're off
Yes.
into the car with Harry and J. Edgar.
And he says to him, "You're obsessed with clothes. You're like a
Yeah.
chick, an
Yeah.
ugly chick." by the chick.
He also says that he really wants to get some shoes from some place, and he says to Harry, "These shoes are made in Italy," like that, you know. And then Harry says,
Why-
"Well, if they're made in Italy, why is the company called The Boots New York?" And then he doesn't really have an answer, so he's just like, "Well, I'm just going to go and get them." So then
And
they
then
have to
he's-
stop so he can get shoes on his way past.
And they do actually stop and he's like, be really quick. It's like, I know exactly what I want.
I know
It's like
exactly
the
what I want,
wingtips
yeah.
fucking thing. And and I also love how he gives, Bosch shit because he buys off the rack and,
Yeah, he says to him, I can't remember what he says, but he says like, not everybody buys like crap like you or something. Like,
There's a lot of clothes stuff going on. Next episode will be, what is that this episode?
there is quite a bit.
Yeah, they're talking about clothes a lot anyway.
So they get to
yeah.
Palm Springs, and then they get to the gate of the like residential estate.
It's like a
type
luxury, really, really posh. It's like in the desert, but it's
thing.
like
Yeah.
really green.
And the gate man isn't very happy. Well, the gate man, to be fair, actually, the gate man isn't even rude to them, but Harry just kind of gives him a load of shit, and he says, he gives the guy a load of shit, and then he says to him that they have a court order and whatever, and the guy goes, okay. Well, the guy tells Mrs. Waters, whatever she's called, on the phone, and who they come to see, and then she lets them in. But as the gate man, as they're driving off, the gate man says something like, your tough guy routine might work well in the city, but before he's even finished, Bosch has driven off.
Bosch just drives off.
As he's like in the middle of his sentence, he just drives off. He says, yeah, that's it. I've put Harry drives off as the guy is telling him his tough guy routine won't work. Lol. Is what I
while
put
the
on
tough guy routine.
well, he's already halfway down the drive, yeah. But then when they get to the house and they meet the lady or whatever, she says, oh, the gate man said you had a court order. And he says, oh, he must have misheard me. What I said was I could get a court order, which I thought was quite a clever move.
Old school, yeah. And she's like, she's got a maid. Like, this is a really posh house.
Oh,
so
yeah,
we have to remember, so this is Arthur's mother who ran away.
Who left them, yeah.
And they were really poor. Like, the dad was like a struggling actor or whatever.
Yeah.
And she obviously made out well. Like in the books, it's a little bit more. In the book, it's described a bit more. So apparently, her husband built that whole development.
Wow. Okay.
And,
fair enough.
Then died, and she's now
she's inherited it all.
Yeah.
Nice.
So she married Drew Renoff, and then obviously was really good looking, and she married like a rich guy.
Yeah. Clearly, I put down. So yeah, I put Mrs. Waters says she didn't know Arthur was dead, but they don't make it clear whether she's kind of acting about. I don't know. You're not sure whether to believe her or not, or I wasn't anyway at first. Whether she didn't know.
I think so. I watched the scene and I thought, okay, this is it's like a meta thing, right? Okay. I thought she is supposed to look genuinely shocked. But I think the actress isn't pulling it off.
You think it's just not bad acting?
But I don't know. You know how that sometimes is in a TV show where you don't like, especially in a drama, right? Like this, where you don't know who done it.
An actor for this.
No, I don't think. I don't think she's a bad actress. It's just sometimes, I don't want to slide her. I don't know. Sometimes it's just like that scene, or
I wondered if it was deliberate. I wondered if it was like a deliberate.
See, that's the thing. I don't know. I don't know if it's deliberate that she's supposed. So the thing is, sometimes you don't know if the actor is supposed to act in the scene, right? So
that's
misdirect.
what's technically known in the business as a Keanu Reeves. He's never been
don't know
sure
if
whether he
he's
was supposed to
acting.
act or not, and he's never quite managed it. Anyway,
well, I actually had that. I used to do like theater in university, right? Yeah. And I wasn't in this one production, but there was like this thing where I watched the director giving an actor there were practice. I was just PR doing at that point for that production. I was just doing PR. I didn't have enough time to be in the production. But he was he was directing him to act like he was a bad actor.
Maybe Keanu Reeves is secretly brilliant, and all his career he's been told to act like a bad actor.
I don't know what layer in the Matrix I'm in. I don't know if I can even evaluate that. I felt a bit like that anyway. So I felt, for my gut feeling, I felt like she's supposed to be genuinely shocked, and it just didn't come across.
But as they interview her anyway, she says, I thought the children would be better off without me, to which Edgar says, like, what, with an abusive father and whatever, and he really doesn't like her. You get the impression straight away he really doesn't like her. Yeah.
He's putting on the hard ass routine.
He is. Well, even...
So at the beginning, when I actually watched the scene the first time, I thought they were doing good cop, bad cop. But you see later, so he's attacking her throughout.
I was just going to say, I don't think he's putting it on, because later on, when they're not talking to her and she's not in the room, he's still having a go at her. So he really doesn't like her.
Yeah. And
he doesn't like the fact that she left her kids and just, went.
She throws him out, and then Bosch goes back to talk to her.
Well,
and then
Bosch
afterwards,
doesn't leave, basically.
Yeah, Bosch doesn't leave. And then when they walk out, and he walks past Edgar, he gives him like this really angry stare. So I think, they talk about it later in the car, but anyway, so basically...
But, he shows her the starfish, and then she remembers the starfish.
Yeah.
Bosch shows her the starfish. And then she says that she's adamant that it wasn't the father, it was... that she says something like, I was the punching bag, and they never were, or something like that. But I wasn't convinced by it myself. I don't know. But
I did think when she sees the starfish, this is the point where she is genuinely touched.
Yeah, she does seem. That's when they go, act. Right, now we want you to act. Like you're acting. Anyway. So back in the car, Edgar really doesn't like her, because he talks about how he's messed up his previous marriages and stuff, and he says, I fucked up and screwed around. I was weak like that, but I was still in my kids' lives, and he says it with like real disdain about
Yeah. So he is divorced, and he fucked up his he screwed around. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He talked about he was with other women, and
that's what he says. He says I was weak like that, which is interesting.
And Bosch obviously thinks that the dad, like when she left,
was then
started hitting the kids.
Started hitting the kids. Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, we're back at the station. And Bosch is talking to Pierce now. He's like pulling him aside, and he's
he says to him to leave, to go easy with the.
Well, he basically tells him, okay, I can understand that you want to report him, but if you report him, you're like ruining our case.
You let the case go.
Yeah, and he's like, I'll Mank will sort it out that you get a new partner.
But it won't look like you've ratted on
when he's square, like and he's worried that well, I guess that's the thing. Like if it looks like you rat out your partner, like nobody will trust you ever again, right? Yeah, in the department, and Bosch basically comes up with like an excuse. It's like, you both did that traffic stop. It's like you're great, and it's now time to to
spread out the street smarts or something. He says, doesn't he? Spread it around or something. He says. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Then Pierce is like, that'll work.
It could work. Yeah. And then the next bit is Brasher turns up. The salty boot wants to hook up with Bosch, and he's too busy. He says he's too busy, and as she's walking away, he gives her this look, and then Edgar says, "I know that look." At which Bosch says, "Well, if anybody would."
So he's sitting at his desk with Edgar, and she comes along, and she's very salty.
She is,
and sultry. She's sultry, like she leans better. Like on the divider of like the desk or whatever, and he checks out her ass again as she leaves. He like, what's going on with Bosch? Is he like?
Well, he clearly likes ass. What can you say?
I think he's an ass man.
He's much like
he's an ass man.
He looks like Billy Gunn. Yeah, he's an ass man.
I think he just didn't have sex for a while.
Maybe.
Like he's
he does seem. But then again, well, okay, I take your point. But then she's basically like almost says to him, "Do you want to have sex?" And he's like, "Not tonight. I'm busy." So fucking sort it out, Harry. Which way is it? Do you know?
Well, I think it's Bosch. Like his job, his mission takes precedence. But then he's like, my balls.
I just love the way Edgar's like, I know that look, and he's like, well, if anybody would, or anyone would, basically it'd be you. So then he phones.
So that's a dig against Edgar.
It is. Well, because Edgar in the previous scene or the scene before goes on about how he's been cheating. He cheated on his wife a load of times, his previous wife. So then he rings Eleanor Wish, who's the mother of his daughter, Bosch, this is, to speak to Maddie about Christmas.
He's at his
stuff.
place. So basically, he said to Brescia, can I take a rain check? I need to call my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, okay, yeah, right, ring me, right? And then he's back at his place.
This is the day before, though. Yeah.
Also, when they cut, right? Before they cut, they show like Hollywood from the air.
Yeah.
To show, I think, that it's night.
Uh-huh.
And that road, I drove down that road.
Just
I was
as
like,
you see
I drove
a
down
German
that.
guy going past you.
In a
Playing the
Mustang,
Bosch
in a silver
theme. It's all very kind of meta.
So
yeah.
the best thing about the Mustang is, right, we had it parked in front of the Airbnb, right, and we get out.
Okay.
We come out, we go to the car, and I open the doors, right, and we had only used it in daylight so far, right, and Katie's like, "What the fuck? Who's painted like a horse on the road?" And I'm like, "What?" And there's like this Mustang logo on the side of the door.
Okay.
And for a second, I thought it was painted on the tarmac as well. And it turns out the Mustang, I don't think that's over
It's
here
got a
because I don't
projector
think
on it,
in
or
Germany. Yes, it's on the mirror, on the
Yeah,
side
it
mirror.
projects,
It's got a
yeah.
little LED and it projects a horse in front of the door. It's the most useless but most awesome thing
why
I've
not?
ever seen.
Why not?
It's
If you've
great.
got, yeah.
I'll put a photo in the show notes. I've got pictures. It's great.
Awesome. That's the phone call. Are you coming for Christmas? Blah blah blah. And then the next scene is the verdict. Basically, here comes the verdict. They're back in court.
Well,
He's waiting for the verdict.
I thought something that was mentionable was basically Bosch says I need a rain check because I need to call my daughter, and then he's at home, and then he rings her, and she's like on the way to soccer practice.
Yeah.
And he doesn't talk to her like even 20 seconds because she needs to go.
Yeah, you're right.
And I'm just like, he gave up Brescia, the evening with Brescia for this?
Well, you
What?
don't have kids, so you probably don't understand the importance of, like, he didn't know it was
Well,
going to be
he
20
seems
seconds.
fucked
so
off
did he?
as well.
Well, what's he supposed
Like,
to do then?
afterwards-
Ring the other girl and go, look, listen, my daughter was really wasn't interested, so are we still on? I mean, he could do
Well,
that, but,
He seems
Yeah.
a bit pissed off as well. I mean, I'm still saying...
But
that
he's Bosch. He's always pissed off. He's pissed off with everything.
his
That's the point of the
balls, like,
character, isn't it?
His balls are the problem.
Well,
Anyway,
we'll
and
get
also
to that
the other
later.
thing I noted down. What's this with American TV shows? Where always like soccer is always a gold sport.
Yeah, it is in America, so I'm told anyway.
What the fuck's
Yeah,
going
they
on
make
there?
it any soccer. Yeah, the girls do it at school apparently. I don't know. It's because boys have to play like American football. I don't know. The whole thing's bullshit anyway. They should all play whatever sport they want.
They should play.
Yeah.
They should all play football.
Yeah.
Or hockey.
So anyway, meanwhile, back at the verdict, they're in the courtroom again to hear the verdict on Bosch's case with the wrongful shooting and all that. To which the bailiff and all that gets up from the jury, gives the verdict to the judge, who reads it out, and then says that the jury found in favour of the plaintiff, and then it's a bit like, oh shit, and then he says, but they've set the damages at $1. And then they all start kind of like, so clearly his lawyer and the rest of the police people are quite pleased, but Bosch is pissed off again. As I said, Bosch is always pissed off because he's still upset that the verdict has gone against him, even though it's a $1 thing. And he says to him, I could appeal it. And then Bosch is like, okay. He doesn't actually say it, but he's like, come on.
But he looks like, that might be a good
and then
idea.
the guy's like, it was a joke. I wasn't really going
It
to
was a
appeal
rhetorical suggestion, Bosch.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
So the thing is with this, which is also like in the corresponding book. So Bosch, there wasn't a criminal case because the LAPD cleared Bosch. They said it's a good shooting.
Yeah.
So this is a civil case.
It's a civil
by
for
the
damages.
family.
Yeah.
So apparently this is like kind of a symbolic thing where they go like, yeah, you were guilty, but damages are $1.
And also they get damages. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so
usually
they're
you get awarded damages of more than $1, I would think. That's why a lot of people do it, because it's a route to getting
Bell
payment.
says to him, the jury made a statement, and Bosch says, yeah, that I fucked up. And then he says, no that you got a bad guy off the street, right? You just bent the rules a little too far.
That's right.
And
Yeah, that's what he says to him. Yeah.
But the crux we learn afterwards as well, where he goes to his car in the car park and he meets Money
He sees
Chandler.
Chandler opposite him. Yeah.
So the crux which they go on, like Connolly goes on in the book, is a big thing in the book as well. So because Chandler won,
she gets to
so
build
her
a city. Yeah.
client gets $1, but she gets to build a city, and then she goes on about how she will build a city for like $500,000, and then they'll settle for 250 or something. Yeah.
So she'll get a lot of money, and then she says to Bosch as she leaves, "I'll see you
note
again
at the
soon.
start.
Guys like you never stop stepping on your own dicks." Guys like you never stop stepping on their own dicks. Basically saying, "I'll see you next time in court." But yeah, you're right. I mean, the character isn't very likable beforehand, but then she's basically saying, "I don't give a shit what happens to my client because I get money out of this, and whatever they get is their
Do you
problem."
think that's really realistic, though?
Oh yeah,
I think that's how it works.
And then Bosch sees Irving. Irving turns up and says, "You must be pleased," or whatever. But anyway, so they meet by the
He
storm
always
drain.
turns up in his car. You know, the car
He has that
drives past and
ridiculous
the
car that
window
he gets
goes
drive
down.
around, and he slowly lines the window down as he looks out. As he looks out, yeah, that's his
And
move.
he also has like a adjutant, like sergeant that drives him around and hands him like
Washington,
canapes or something.
That's his move. He slowly drives up and looks moody, and then like the window goes down, and he goes, "Bosch, you must be pleased." So yeah,
Damn it, that's the mayor.
Exactly. He tells Bosch he wants to talk to him, so they go to like those big, massive storm drains they have in
no,
LA.
that's the LA River, yeah.
Oh right, okay.
And then the
With
thing
the
is,
overflow.
like, he says they did a lot here, they made it look great. And then Bosch is like, still looks like a gutter.
It still looks like a
And
gutter,
then,
but then he says cities need gutters, Bosch.
cities need gutters, Bosch. It's like these lines, they're so good. And you know that they filmed the whole thing at the LA River just for that fucking line.
Oh, probably, yeah. And then Irving tells Bosch that O'Shea has come up with some plan to get publicity and to look good by
He's
taking
the DA.
taking the Waits, the guy that they've caught, on a field trip so he can apparently show them where he's taking the bodies and all this bullshit.
So were you like me? Did you immediately think that was a bad idea?
Yeah, it
Getting the
didn't
guy out
sound
of
like a
prison?
good idea, to be honest. But he says he wants Bosch. He says to him he wants Bosch to convince O'Shea that Waits is bullshitting. And he says he puts him on the babysitting team or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what they call it. The team that have to look after him. He basically
detail,
puts Bosch on the detail.
He says you're the chaperone.
Yeah, and then Bosch. So it's interesting because he says Bosch says to him something about how it would be good for him if good for Irving if he could make O'Shea look bad, and he says, "Well, I'd hate to go somewhere else to go to another division to become like whatever captain or whatever."
Yeah, to another city. Yeah.
Another city, and then Bosch basically says it's better the devil you know than the devil you don't know. So he kind of intimates that he would be okay with Irving becoming commissioner. Which is
chief,
or
chief.
chief, whatever. Sorry, not commissioner, police chief.
So this is a bit might, if you watch this and you're not from the US or something, you might get a bit confused because he's deputy chief, but they all call him chief.
Yeah,
It's kind of
is a
like
bit
when you're
confusing,
lieutenant commander, they call you commander.
Yeah,
Commander Dater, even
Just to
though
be
he's lieutenant
difficult.
commander.
yeah. So he's got to do thingy's detail anyway, and then next scene we're back at Bosch's house where
night.
Brasher knocks on the door, and he says
Cut!
to her, "You're definitely out of uniform." She's wearing quite a sexy outfit, and he says, "You're definitely out of uniform," is what he says to her in his usual smooth Bosch way. Do you know what I actually wrote? And this is quite bad. I put Bosch turns up at Bosch's house, definitely in quotes, out of uniform and ready to throw down. That's what I wrote, and then I put
Definitely,
shots
yes.
fired again. Basically,
Definitely.
so
I
that
love how
tells
it's
you
like-
all you need to
She
know.
turns up like in
Yeah.
this outfit, right?
Yeah, and then she leaves
so
in like sweatpants or something.
Well,
the
it's
next day.
basically she says he forgot to call her, and then she's like, she notes he doesn't listen to jazz, which I
That's right,
immediately
yeah.
like. It's like that's that scene. Why is he listening to jazz? And it turns out Maddie, so his daughter, emailed him a playlist, he says.
That's right, yeah.
To which I wrote down, Bosch can use email.
Yeah, because every other hint of any kind of technology, which we'll talk again later on in the
the
end
cloud.
of the episode, he can't understand it, and they it's on a memory card, and he's like, "Oh, memory, what?" and he doesn't seem to understand anything.
Playing God,
but he can apparently.
Poker.
He doesn't understand what a drive is, and he doesn't understand what the cloud is. Anyway, so we'll
But how does he get that on his
I don't know.
amplifier with the vinyl? We don't know. Anyway, so he's listening to her music. But I love the things like Brescia walks in. I love this show for little things like she walks in, they talk 2 lines, cut, they're in bed.
Yeah.
Next
well,
morning.
he wants to make her food or
actually,
something. He offers to do something.
next
She goes
morning,
and that's why I put she's ready to throw down, because he suggests I think they have a drink or something, and she's like, afterwards.
Sorry, I was actually confusing this with next episode where something very similar happens. But yes, you're right. They cut to her in the morning where she's like sweatpants and he's shaving.
Yeah, and she also says that she's brought her own
shaver.
car. She's like, I brought my own car this time, because alluding to the fact that last time he had to drop her off at the station.
Yeah. And he notes that she's packing a bag, so she brought she brought a change of clothes.
She brought
He's
extra
like,
clothes.
You're learning.
Yeah, you're learning. Yeah. So anyway, I put
also like how she says he needs. Well, he says he needs to go on that weights thing, right? And she says, "Hope you're not too worn out."
Yeah.
Shots fired.
Yeah. So
Officer down.
Moving on before we get too far, because we clearly want to talk about that scene a lot more. I put the gang's all here for Waite's field trip. Because I was like, oh, amazing! So the detail that they've got for Waite's field trip thing is all your favourite people,
Barrel.
like Crate and Barrel, and then obviously Edgar's there, and Bosch himself. And you think to yourself, how big is the Hollywood division? They must have hundreds of people working there. Why is it always the same 4 guys who have to do everything?
Well, it's actually in the books they actually go into this.
Oh, okay.
So I think in the books, at some point they have 3. Like the detectives are paired up in 3s.
Okay.
And I think they have 4 teams. But I think Crate and Barrel are here because it's their case. Like not the.
Is it? Yeah.
Well, the thing is, Erwin talks with Bosch and he says, "I want you to be the chaperone," and Bosch says, "Why?" It's Crate and Barrel's case.
Oh, yeah, you're right. He does. Yeah.
Although he uses their real name, Johnson or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Nobody calls them that.
Nobody calls them that.
No.
And then he goes, no, but like the Delacroix case is yours. But like the Rain Waits traffic stop case is Crate and Barrel's case. So I think that's why they're there.
Of course it is. Yeah, you're right, because they interviewed him and everything. So anyway, they go to get him, and I put down that Bosch gives the stink eye to Waits. He sees him coming out, and he gives him the look like he really thinks he's an absolute piece of shit. But
even before that, so before they pick him up, so Crate and Barrel are there, and they're talking about fashion, because
about Barrel's suit. Crate's suit.
Says,
you mean?
Edgar says to Crate, "Yeah, it's a great
Nice
look
suit
on you."
or something.
Like,
yeah.
he goes on, "Yeah, I've got this." Like, so my wife said I can't look like a car salesman, so she got this Chinese tailor who works out of hotel room near LAX. And now I got the pins
fly in and do it, yeah.
And you can see everybody, like the prison guards, like going, "Is that's an immigration offense?" And they're like,
no, well, maybe. There are people who do that though. You get it a lot in this country. Yeah, usually not Chinese, but you get a lot of Indian and so on. But tailors who'll come over and do like stuff way cheaper than. Yeah,
but you fly him in and he works out of an hotel room in LAX. Doesn't sound like it's clear with like fucking
well, it's
immigration.
Hardly considering what else happens. It's hardly the biggest problem they've got to deal with.
Exactly.
So anyway, I put Crate and Barrel in the house, as I always put. And then
but what Crate says, I wrote this down. This is great. So Crate says, so they're talking about the suit. Makes me look slender, right? And Barrel
that's
says,
right. Yeah.
You're about to blow away.
That's right. Yeah. Anyway, get a room. No, I love those two. So, and then we see as they're leaving the compound or whatever, they walk to the gate, and then O'Shea is there with a camera guy at the gate and some other people.
Crew,
and he says Bosch tells him he doesn't like it. and he says O'Shea is clearly using this as a PR move. Well, I put that down. O'Shea is clearly using this as a PR move. He's like, "Why? What's with the camera crew?" And he's like, "Well, we've got to document it, Bosch." And he's just a pain in the ass, isn't he?
And Bosch makes really clear to while on camera to say that he thinks this whole thing, like, I'm on record now. This is a bad idea. He talks directly to the camera.
Yeah,
not to the camera, but the camera that's in shot.
Yeah, and then they drive off, and we switch to the van, which is
they're driving down. I'll have you know they're driving down Freeway 10. I've been there.
Yeah.
So I've
don't say.
Driven down that freeway. I can tell. And I wrote down, God, Waits is creepy.
He is. He keeps trying to unsettle Bosch all the time. Though he keeps telling him. He thinks he can get into Bosch's head, and he says that Bosch tells him to sell his bullshit somewhere else. So he tells Bosch that he's a man with no family and no life, and he's a man on a mission, and he constantly tries to rattle him. And then
he's got him down, right? He's got no life. He's just sitting there at home.
I don't think he's as smart as he thinks he is, though.
Yeah,
I don't like Waits. I don't think he's as smart as he makes out.
No, I don't like him either. But when he says he's like you don't have a life, he's sitting at home looking at like old case files. That's pretty much Bosch.
Yeah, it is. You're right. Yeah, fair enough. But he tells a story about how he got the boy into the van, which sounds like bullshit. And he says it was easy because the boy wanted. He says he wanted to. He says, I asked him if he wanted to see a film, go and see a movie or something.
He says back in the day, the kids were just,
Yeah, but even that's unconvincing to me. It sounds like bullshit. And then he says, stop under the bridge. That's where he died. So he directs them to a bridge that they stop under. And he says to Bosch, my father worked here. That's how he got sick. He died, and that was the exact words. So he basically tells Bosch that his father used to work in this place under the bridge. And he died of like some kind of lung cancer or something.
Asbestos,
asbestos,
like fiberglass or whatever.
Yeah, and I put down, he's always trying to get on. Now he wants sympathy, but Bosch has none.
Well, it's kind of like he kind of tries to like get into Bosch's head.
He does all the time.
And I just wait for Bosch to say like, you don't want to be in my head. It's horrible. And like,
Maybe. So I put down O'Shea loves the camera, which is fairly obvious. And he stands in front.
And Crate and Barrel they have an action scene. They cut the chain on the gate. Crate's like with the big.
You're right, they do.
Wire cutter.
You're right, they do. And then they get Waits out of the van to leads to go inside and look around.
You constantly see like O'Shea acting to the camera. You see the cameraman, and then they cut to Bosch being pissed. And he looks, you're right. He looks pissed most of the time, but he looks extremely
He looks more
pissed.
I'll give you that. He looks more pissed.
He's especially pissed that day.
Yeah, and it's not for the reason that you're talking about, because he can't claim that he's got blue balls or something.
Blue balls now.
He can't be claiming that now. I'm sorry, I'm not buying that. Sell that bullshit somewhere else.
Shots have been
as he
fired.
Says himself, sell that bullshit somewhere else.
The magazine is thoroughly emptied.
Yeah, so he says, Waits tells them there are stairs to the underneath bit, and he says, that's where I took them all. Because Bosch says to him, is that where you took the boy? And he says, that's where I took them all. And it looks like he's spinning more bullshit. Even if there are stairs, even if there are stairs, he could know about this building for another reason. He after all, he did say his father worked there.
Yeah. So they're going into this abandoned factory, right? Yeah.
And then Waits does a face plant and falls over.
Well, he says before that, I can't wait to show you.
Oh yeah,
wait,
that's right. Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, true.
They're telegraphing shit there.
Yeah. So he falls on his face. I put
which you can clearly see, like if you watch this back, you can see he closes his eyes.
Yeah.
And then he just goes bam and breaks his nose.
So he deliberately does that to break his nose, and then O'Shea tells Bosch to loosen his restraints, which Bosch is like obviously like really pissed off about.
Well, so
he's crazy.
that deputy DA Escobar, he's like, we can't have a lawsuit, and he's going to sue us and whatever.
Yeah, he says if he trips again, he needs to be able to break his fall. To which Bosch says, "Are you kidding me?" in very strong terms. And then Barrel discovers that the elevator works, so they don't need to go down the stairs. And then,
but like before that, O'Shea really says, you need to like loosen his shackles.
His chains. Well, he does.
Bosch, with the really strained, like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, it is a stupid move, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's obviously stupid.
Yeah. So once they found out that the elevator works, because Barrel discovers the elevator works, Bosch tells Crate to put Waits back on the chain, as he calls it. So basically, chain him back up again.
So, he has this thing where, like, they have in U.S. prisons, if you've seen on TV, where, like, his ankles are chained together.
Yeah,
and then there's a chain going up
from
to his neck.
Right,
and then you just chain his handcuffs to that as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, they go to put him back anyway. So Crate goes to do that as he's directed. While he's trying to do that, Waits grabs his gun and then shoots him a couple of times
in the stomach as well.
Yeah, and then makes his exit.
Really bad. Well, he shoots. He shoots Crate in the stomach, then shoots the deputy DA. Escobar,
yeah, true. And then he
dives into the elevator thing.
Yeah. I put down, he clearly knows this place and was using it as an escape opportunity.
Yeah.
Crate looks like he's in trouble. Harry follows Waits into the tunnels, and I put the tunnel.
At this point, I was just going,
thing.
tunnel rat in action too. But at this point, I was just going Crate's suit.
I
he
thought
was so
that,
happy
his new
about that
suit,
fucking pinstripe suit.
He's going to have to get another Chinese tailor. He's going to have to fly in another Chinese tailor for that.
Fucking bullet
to
holes.
repair it.
It's like the first day he's wearing that suit as well. Like, how unlucky is he?
That's true.
And I love... So Crate gets shot. Nobody cares about the Escobar fucking dude, right?
No,
but
they don't really seem to care about him.
Barrel's like a fucking Rottweiler.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like Crate, oh my God. And he's like, he's really cute.
Yeah, well,
they're acting that really well.
Yeah, they're really close, aren't they? They're really close. He's his work wife, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So I put O'Shea.
I have a colleague at work that
who's your work wife?
Calls my work wife.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. I put O'Shea looks worried. He knows he's fucked up, and it's obvious he did it for his own political reasons, vanity and bravado. So
he looks. It's really nice how he looks worried, and then he just looks at the cameraman.
Yeah,
he's like, "You're still filming, you fucking idiot."
Well, he told him to as well, didn't he? So you get what you wish for.
Then he turns the camera off.
Yeah, and then Harry gets close to Waits as he's chasing him, and they exchange shots and stuff, but not in that way. Shots are fired, but not in that way. But that would have been a twist, wouldn't it? That would have been quite a twist.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they shoot at each other, but obviously neither of them hit each other. Harry continues to track him through the tunnels and out through the big storm drain type thing to basically into the open bit where he can see.
Basically, Waits goes into the LA River and is gone.
He's gone.
It's like that GTA where you're like with the buggies into the river and then you're gone. But I think I watched this over and I thought at the first time I thought that this wasn't convincing. I was like, he isn't far behind. Why is Waits getting away? But I watched it back carefully and he's doing his army thing. He's very careful. Bosch is very careful. He's
cautious. Well, he's waiting for an ambush, isn't he?
Yeah, he's like in his combat stance. He's got his flashlight, and every juncture he just goes like, there's like a thing at the ceiling. He goes like, is he ambushing me there? And he's very, very careful. And I think that's sense. Just why he loses a lot of time, and then Waits just gone.
Yeah. And then to kind of emphasize it and show how close they are to the city and all that, there's a big aerial shot where they pull out into the
you can see the skyline.
The skyline and all that, and
they're hiding in the LA underground. If you can find them,
I don't think I'd want to find that Waits guy, to be honest.
The Waits.
Maybe you can get killed by Reynard Waits. Waits runs away up the road and. Takes a guy's truck, then shoots him in the face, which is quite nasty. And we also see that he's stolen a detective badge, which becomes significant later.
Yeah. So he's pulling a badge, and then the guy goes, "You're not police," and then bam.
Yeah. So next scene is Harry goes back to obviously see what's happening with the others. He says to Barrel, "How's Crate?" And Barrel says they've taken him to hospital. Harry says, "O'Shea?" ? And to which Barrel says the first cockroach out of Dodge.
Yeah, that's great. And Barrel is like, I really thought But that actor did a great job there.
He's a good actor. He's a really good actor.
Yeah, he's really good. Like you couldn't see up to now because he
didn't have a lot to do, did he? Really?
But he's like he is visibly shaken, and his voice goes when he when I don't know how he does that. Like as somebody
it's called
acting.
Acting, dear.
Well, if you try to do that, it's quite hard. I mean,
it is. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying he's actually a professional actor. So.
The way his voice goes, like, I mean, yeah. But you brought up Keanu Reeves. He's a professional actor too.
He is a professional actor. But he's shit at it. Anyway, let's not go down that route again. So anyway, Harry sees the videographer, cameraman, and asks him if he got it, meaning did he record all of what happened, what went down. He says O'Shea ran off with the memory card, but there's a cloud backup, to which Harry looks quite confused.
He says, wait, we have to quote this word by word because it's hilarious. There's the cloud,
That's right, yeah.
What do you mean? The cloud, and then he explains basically cloud backups.
But he says,
if you have a drive,
I'll make
you a copy.
Dump you a copy.
And it was like a drive. What?
Yeah,
I have a car.
A drive is what I do in my car. Son.
Yeah, and then I looked like this. This is amazing because you don't know Irving is there. And,
you don't.
Irving walks into the shot.
And just
like,
I've got a drive. Make me a copy and then delete it.
Yeah.
He says, so the cameraman says, I'll make you a copy. Fuck O'Shea. Did you see what he did back there?
Yeah.
Which is interesting. So Irv tells him to give him a copy and then erase it from the cloud. Harry's still confused by that, I think. But he says...
It's like, what cloud is... It's a blue sky. It's LA. Yeah. There's some smog, but it's, what cloud?
It's interesting because Irv seems really pissed off. And now, so he's...
Pissed off at Bosch. And Bosch was the guy who told him it's a bad idea. Yeah, this whole thing is a bad idea from the beginning.
But also, he says to him, Waits... He says Irv's pissed that Waits got away. He says Harry says to Irv that he should be happy because O'Shea's fucked up. And it's good for Irving that O'Shea's not doing well. And he says Irv knows that legally the suspect is in Harry's custody, and he says you can be sure that's how he'll spin it. So basically he's saying you're fucked, Bosch, because he's gonna blame you, essentially. O'Shea's gonna blame you. Yeah. And then he says to him the whole thing's fucked, and then he says, and now we have to unfuck it, don't we, detective?
Bosch says this whole situation is Fugazi.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Well, that was short for fucked up.
But, and now we have to unfuck it.
And then he says, now we have to unfuck it, don't we, detective? Irv's good at delivering the kind of serious lines.
He's good with the one-liners.
He is. So we're getting near the end now. So Waits arrives at his lockup with a stolen vehicle. Not much else to say on that. Bosch arrives at the hospital in the next scene to see Crate. He's being prepped for surgery.
Although with Waits, I noted that his lockup is not like in a gangbang area of LA. It looks like
it's
a
in
family.
The hills. It looks like it's in the hills.
Well, it looks like a family neighborhood.
Yeah, it might be. Well, it could be considering what happened. Yeah, it could be.
More on that on the next episode of Hollywood Outlaws.
Stay tuned. Yeah. So he goes to see Crate with Billings. With Lieutenant Billets, sorry.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I put Billings. Is there another character called Billings? I don't know. Anyway, Billets, who says Crate. They go to see Crate, who's lying on the gurney thing, and he's conscious, but he's got a mask on. He can't talk. So he kind of communicates with Harry by almost like sign language.
He's got my badge.
He basically tells him that he's got his badge, and Harry says, "Don't worry, I'm going to get it back for you, brother. Brother, don't worry, brother. I'm going to get it with the 22-inch pythons." Anyway,
he goes all Hogan.
And then
Hollywood Hogan. Sorry, hey, that fits Hollywood Hogan.
Hollywood Hogan, yeah. Harry says it could have been me. Because he handed it off to Crate basically, and then Brasher turns up at the hospital again and says, but Harry says he's going back to the division to help with the phones because, and in quotes, I'm going to be there when we find him, because he's really angry. And then we're up to the last scene basically.
Yeah, that's Waits, and he's like in that lockup. He obviously has tools.
Yeah,
he's picking the handcuffs.
He takes the handcuffs off.
And then you see that the handcuffs have Bosch engraved on them.
Which he kind of smirks at.
Yeah, and then Wade takes the plates off the car. And then we have a wrap.
And then it's credits. Yeah, and then it's credits.
You hurried to this, but we're almost on time. Just one
I did
thing
hurry
left.
a bit because we spent a while on other things as well.
Yeah, sorry,
we're almost
that
on
was my
time.
fault.
Yeah, we're almost.
You're right. Now it's your thing of what have we learned.
Oh yeah.
And I think my takeaway from this episode is two things. Bosch's blue balls, and then also Crate's suit. Crate's nice suit.
Yeah, Crate's suit was bad.
Fucking suit.
Yeah,
There's a lot of fashion casualties. It's his suit, and in the next episode there will be other casualties.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is because Edgar, because we've seen all 4 series, the two of us, and you've read the books and stuff. We both kind of know how into clothes and stuff Edgar is, but I think this is the first time they really push that hard and make out how much he's into it. One big thing I learned from this was don't wipe your ass with poison oak. That's what I took from this.
I don't even know what poison oak looks like.
I've heard of poison ivy. I don't know what poison oak.
Yeah, poison ivy. But you only know about that because of the comic book character.
No, I also know that it's a plant. I do know what poison ivy
but
is.
only because of the comic book character. Come on.
No, I think I knew about the plant before I knew about the comic book character. I don't know.
Right.
I can't say. But I know about both of them anyway. I also knew penguins were a thing before I saw the penguin on Batman.
Just because of Linux. Come on.
Just because of Linux, of course, yeah. Actually, the Penguin should use Linux, shouldn't we? Never discussed that on Linux Outlaws.
He doesn't?
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying.
He bloody should.
He should do, yeah. He should. All right, yeah, so good episode, that. I like that episode. Very kind of action-packed.
Yeah, there's more action than usual, I guess.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it's kind of building up to stuff, isn't it? But the fact that the big escape, that was quite a big thing, obviously. And then Crate, who's one of my faves, Crate, one of my favourite characters, getting shot
in the gut.
That's
that was a heart wrencher, actually.
It is, yeah. Because as you said, you can see that Barrel's really upset, and also
that was some good acting. Yeah. That was some really good acting.
He's a good actor. I don't even know. Yeah, he's a good actor. That guy. So what do we need to tell people then before we sign off? We need to say send us your feedback or stuff to.
Yeah, I got that lined up. I'm just looking up who that actor
who the actor is. Well, I'll do I'll do the other bit while you're doing that. So if you want to send us stuff, send it to feedback at sixgun.org, I think it is. And you can find us. There's a Discord thing. You can find us there.
Troy Evans, Troy Evans, Detective Johnson.
All right. I didn't even know his name was Johnson.
Lance Reddick.
He's really good.
In real life, apparently has glasses.
And
he looks a lot nicer with the glasses.
Well, he's a really good actor, Lance Reddick. He's in he plays a similar kind of character in loads of things. He often plays like a police guy. He was in I was in Fringe, and he was in which I never really got into, but people I knew liked it.
Me neither.
And he was in The Wire. He's brilliant in The Wire, and he's in loads of things. He's in John Wick, which we talked about, the film. I think he's in both films actually. And anyway, but he's a good actor. Yeah, he's very good. So
anyway, yes. So we have feedback at 600.org. There will be a link in the show notes for if you have GitLab. You can. This is very geeky. It's a holdover from the Linux Outlaws days. You can submit a patch. We also on Twitter. HW Outlaws.
Yep.
And we have a Discord. It's on the Six Gun site, but there'll also be a link in the show notes. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. We thank Bytemark for our hosting.
Yeah, definitely.
They sponsor the bandwidth, and also the Bourbon Boys for the great intro theme.
Awesome song. Yeah. Great song.
Yeah, which is great. And that's about it.
That's it then. Okay. Shots fired again.
Code 7.